So what do we do? What in the world are we supposed to do when we have hit that plateau, when we're stressed out? We're so stressed out that we really can't even think straight. We're doing stuff, but we're not really thinking about what we're doing. All we know is I got to do something, right? We know that we have to do something. So I've got 4 steps to help me push past plateaus. The first thing that we have to do is we have to ask ourselves the question, what is success for me? What is it for me? Because whatever it is for me is not going to be what it is for you. We all have our own unique personal definitions of success, and we have to make it personal, because if we're chasing the success that from somebody else's playbook, we are never going to get there. We're never going to get there. We have to define success for us. And that sometimes means that we have to look 6 months, 9 months, 2 years into the future. And we have to envision that. We have to define that for ourselves. Because before we can do anything, before we can work towards something, we have to know what it is we're working toward, right? We have to decide what that thing is. So first, ask yourself, ask myself. Myself said, what is success for me? And I need to envision that. You need to write it down. You need to draw a picture, whatever it is that you got to do. Do that. And the next thing is you got to strategize. Y'all know look, I think I say the word strategy like 7 times every day. I believe I do. Because for me, strategy is the engine that keeps your business going. And my approach to strategy is rooted in my military background. That's where it comes from. So knowing and seeing and experiencing how a strategy that is thought out and planned out can lead to success on a battlefield, that I align that, I apply that to business. So you have to strategize. For one, when you've hit that plateau, after you've defined what success is, you've got to strategize and you've got to plan the strategy to get you to that success, to get you to that place. You've got to ask yourself, what has changed? Because something has changed. And that so often is what trips us up. We don't want to recognize that something has changed. Because for some reason, we think that we have our thumb on what's going on and we can control what's going on. So if we can fool ourselves into believing that nothing has changed, then we don't have to do anything differently. But once we accept that something has changed, we have to act. And when something changes in or around your business, you've got to re-strategize. You've got to dust that thing off. Look, that plan that you wrote down umpteen months ago, you got to pull it off the shelf, dust it off, and you got to rework that thing. Step 3 is to prioritize. I talked about this at the top of the broadcast. When we recognize that we've hit a plateau, we are frustrated because we are doing all the things, but none of the things is working, right? So what we have to do after we have re-strategized is we've got to prioritize. You've got to decide in that moment, after you've determined what success is, after you've re-strategized, you've got to decide what is the most important right now. Ask yourself any number of questions. I'm going to give you 3. What will bring a win that I can celebrate? You might need a small victory to get you over the hump, to keep you going. So in that case, what the priority is going to be the small thing that you can accomplish the fastest to get you to a win. Another thing that you could ask yourself, what's going to generate income right now? So what could I do right now? What could I put in place right now that's going to be the easiest, the fastest path to money, the fastest path to a sale? If that's what you need in that moment, then you got to focus on that. You could also ask yourself, what can I take off my plate? What can I delegate? If Streamlining, if cleaning your plate off and streamlining what you do and eliminating some of your tasks is the most important in that moment, then you need to ask yourself what you can delegate and be real. Keep it real with yourself. Be real and figure out what you can pass off, what you can outsource, what you can hire somebody else to do. Again, you guys, just like deciding what success is, determining the priorities, that is personal. You have to determine what your priorities are. That's step 3. The last step is to take action. You got to do something. You can define success, you can re-strategize, and you can prioritize until the cows come home. But if you don't take any action, you still going to be sitting in the same spot. You have to take action. Business, by its very nature, is an iterative process, meaning that it's constantly changing. In case you haven't recognized, the world is constantly changing. Our external environment is constantly changing. Everything is constantly changing. So you have to constantly be taking action. You have to take action. So you've got to define what success is. 2, you've got to re-strategize, recognize what has changed, and adjust to those changes by revamping, refreshing, revising your strategy. 3, you've got to prioritize. Once you have your new strategy, you have to determine and decide what is most important. What do I need to do this moment, right now? And the last step is to take action.